as the laps are winding down, it's like the tornado is just getting bigger and bigger. And, you can feel the energy getting bigger and bigger. And you know that something bad and chaotic is about to happen.
Old Dega did not disappoint. 77 lead changes between 27 drivers, but in the end, it was Chase Briscoe punching his ticket to the championship 4. Chase Briscoe, I'm assuming that you're a huge Talladega fan after this past weekend, huh? Probably your favorite racetrack?
I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite, but I definitely like it a lot more than what I typically do leaving there. So yeah, it was nice to be on the good end of a Talladega or just a super speedway race in general for once.
Yeah, I heard you let out a little laugh. I think it was you inside the car, like after you took the checkered. It was like this little like giggle, and I was wondering like, was that you? First of all, I wasn't like hearing James Small kind of giggle over the radio, but like what prompted that?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it was me. I doubt it was James giggling. I don't really remember after the race, truthfully. But yeah, just the fact that I won a super speedway race, it was something that was kind of like the one type of racetrack I've not won at in my career. And whether it was the ARCA Series, Trucks, Xfinity Cup, obviously. And yeah, like I couldn't believe I actually even won stage 2. Like I was just pumped that I won a stage at a super speedway because I've never been able to close the deal and hold off the lanes and all those things. And yeah, it's definitely crazy that I won at a super speedway because it's been something that I've honestly put a lot of work in and just haven't seen the results a lot of the time. So yeah, it was just a crazy finish for sure.
Not only that, but I don't know if you know this. I did post this stat. I tagged you, but I don't know if you saw it. But this is the first super speedway win for the 19 car,
Yeah,
like ever.
I didn't realize ever. I know that all the 19 guys that are on it now that worked with Martin and stuff, they were talking about how they've never won a super speedway race and how they had obviously led a
Yeah.
lot of laps and been up front in a lot of them, but they'd never won one. And they were, I think, just as shocked as I was that they won a super speedway race. They couldn't believe it either. So yeah, it was cool that I did not know that about the 19 car that it never won. Especially with Martin being such a good super speedway racer and Carl Edwards.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, that belongs to you, my friend, and you only. I know the family wasn't there with you. How did you celebrate when you got home?
Uh, honestly, just got in bed. Everybody was
No, they
asleep
weren't
when I
like
got
up
home.
waiting for you. Like,
Yeah, no, it was like 11 o'clock when I got home, and we tried waking Brooks up. He is like literally like he's on anesthesia as soon as he falls asleep. We were shaking him, tickling him as hard as we could, yelling his name. I was waving the checkered flag in front of him, and he like barely opened his eyes and just nothing, just like he was not even
oh,
there. But then this morning, yeah, he woke up and he jumped on me at like 7 this morning and was hitting me with the checkered flag. So it was a cool start to the morning.
that is awesome. I'm sure the sort of the idea or the thought that you, my friend, are racing for a championship. You have made the championship 4. Has that set in yet? Like, and if so, like, when did it sort of like this is happening?
Yeah, it hit me like right as we crossed the start finish line on the cool down lap a little bit. And then it kind of faded away, truthfully. Like I was just more celebrating the win. But today I would say it's kind of started to sink in of what we're going to be able to go and race for. And then just, even all the obligations now that are, on top of it, just it's going to be a busy week. And yeah, I would say the thing that's probably made it the most real is just trying to find a house to rent in Phoenix so my whole family can go.
You don't have
That
someone to take care of that for you besides your
no,
wife,
no,
obviously.
yeah, I'm looking. But that was something that Marissa and I had kind of talked about the last week or two of like, hey, if I get there, we're in a house and everybody will go out there. But we figured it was going to be like a last minute thing, Sunday night, maybe driving home from Martinsville. But now we have an extra week to find a house. So yeah, it's that's been the top of the priority list today.
That's a good problem to have, buddy. Good problem to have. Another good problem would be the gray hairs that you kind of talked about after the race. You said that you probably have some more gray hairs because of those final laps. Listen, I will never know what it's like to be in sort of that hornet's nest of energy that is the last couple laps at Talladega or Daytona. A lot of people watching this will have no idea as well. Is there any way to verbalize what that feeling is like?
Oh man, it is so hard to explain because it is such a unique thing. It's what I imagine being inside of a tornado is like, where it's just chaos. there's a certain level of calmness for parts of it, but at the end of the races, as the laps are winding down, it's like the tornado is just getting bigger and bigger, and you can feel the energy getting bigger and bigger, and you know that something bad and chaotic is about to happen. And you just feel it coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's no different than if a tornado is coming to your house, right? Like, it's coming and there's nothing you can do. And that's the same in the pack. Like, you're just in the middle of it, whether you're leading, the field, or, running 10th or whatever, there's nothing you can do to get out of it. You're just
Ugh.
in it. And it is a very odd feeling. But that's honestly the best way I can describe it is, you're kind of in this path of destruction and you have no way to get out of it. And you're just hoping that you come out on the other side.
And you just hold it wide open.
That's it.
and grip it and rip it. I did hear you mention something about like wanting to like not let certain guys win. And I was just wondering like how much more of an element that adds to those final laps when you're not only trying to win the race yourself or trying to help one of your teammates win, but you're actively saying, oh, that's a guy that I don't want to win. And kind of that's a whole nother element in your mind when it is this playoff race.
Yeah, that was the unique thing about yesterday, I think, is just, my thought process through those final two laps was changing by the second, whether it was, me trying to push Bubba originally just to push Bubba to push Larson so Larson would win the race, because it was way better for me to have Larson win than William win. And then Larson got clear to the bottom. And then it was just, how can I push Bubba now to win the race? And then Larson runs out of fuel. And, truthfully, when I made that move to the bottom, it was more to just kind of hedge my bet of, okay, now if Bubba doesn't win, yeah, I'll win. But at least one of us is going to, win. And, truthfully, when I even made the move to the bottom originally, I thought that the top lane was probably going to prevail and win the race. But I just wanted to make sure I got to the bottom to make sure that William wasn't the first car in line on the bottom. I just wanted to at least finish in the top five. And if Bubba won, that was okay with me, truthfully. Just from a big picture standpoint, that was kind of best case scenario outside of me winning. So yeah, I mean, your thought process is changing literally by the second, as variables are changing and the pack is doing different things. But yeah, obviously the outcome was the best outcome for us. But yeah, throughout those last kind of two laps, you're just trying to get your line going and trying to hope that, one of those guys that, potentially was going to win the race doesn't.
Yeah, Ty, you mentioned your teammate Ty Gibbs after the race, just the excuse me, the help that he gave you. And I'm wondering for a guy who did spend time at another team, right? When you look at your teammates, those guys have been in that Gibbs organization throughout their career. You've seen other ways that teams handle teammates and those types of things. So conversations that have been had in the last couple weeks, especially after Loudon, a lot of talk about that. How do you think that set the stage or set the base for the way that the three of you will handle the playoffs?
Yeah, definitely yesterday.
Even the four of you, I guess, even Ty, because even though he's not in it, he's still
he's going to
part
be
of
a
it.
factor when we go to
Yeah.
Phoenix. Like, he'll be up in the mix. And, yesterday, certainly, I mean, Ty Gibbs is the 1000% reason I won the race. I mean,
Yep.
when I went back and watched it, in the car, my perspective of it was different. But when I went back and watched the race, especially from the helicopter shot, I mean, like, he definitely was 1000%, like, made sure he got in line behind me and was just completely selfless. Truthfully, the best thing for him to potentially win the race was probably to stay on the top lane. But he, made a choice to turn down with me and keep my momentum going. And yeah, I just can't thank him enough. I told him I need to know what your favorite steak dinner is or wherever your favorite restaurant is. I'll be sure to get you a gift card and everything else. But yeah, I think, just those races come down to the right people being around you. And Ty was certainly, like I said, selfless. He's still going for his first win, and for him to, put me ahead of himself and the company ahead of, his personal goals. It says a lot, I think, about Ty and just even the growth, of where he's been from, everybody talking about him 5-6 weeks ago to where he's at now. So yeah, just super proud of, JGR as a company and how we handled the end of that race. And certainly going to Phoenix, we're going to be battling each other. And, it's not uncharted territory for us because we do kind of race against each other a lot of the time for the
Yeah.
win, kind of week in and week out. But it'll be different. There's more on the line, but I think we're do a really good job of handling it.
So it doesn't need to be said in the boardroom on Monday because you guys are big boys and have done this your whole careers. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or
Yeah, I
or
mean,
or
for
is
sure.
there are there comments made or things said from crew chief or whatever?
No, I think we all kind of know. And like, even when we had our meeting after New Hampshire, like it was just us four in the room. There was nobody else because at the end of the day, and ultimately it's us that's going to decide how it is handled, right? We're the ones that have the steering wheel and the pedals. And, I mean, it doesn't matter what the other people say. It's us that have the choice to do it. And yeah, I think for us, we all kind of know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And, yeah, I thought we did a really good job at the end of the race yesterday executing that.
That's interesting. Is that unlike situations in the past where the drivers alone would kind of sit around and talk about it?
Um, I don't know. I've honestly not been in very many situations like that before. You know, at SHR, obviously we had four cars too, but
Yeah.
truthfully, we were never really racing for the win, and it was just different. We never really had those discussions, truthfully. So that was the first time I've ever even been in a meeting like that. And yeah, I kind of liked how the drivers. It was just the drivers because like I was just saying, it is ultimately us that's the
Yeah.
deciding factor of what happens. There can be all these guidelines and everything, but we have to hold each other accountable. And, I think for us, when you see, like yesterday, what Ty did, right? I haven't told him after the race, like it will get repaid back at some point. There's going to be a day where, maybe you're leading the race and need me to go with you in one of those moves and, it'll be remembered. And so it
Yeah.
all always comes back full circle.
When you crossed that finish line yesterday, like I could not help but think back to 2020, when you said in the Xfinity series that you said I got to go win 8 races or so, or else I'm done, right? And I remember you kind of like, I mean, you called your shot and you went and did it. And I remember that time for you was just so like emotional and uncertain. And then obviously coming to Joe Gibbs this season, and James Small talked a lot in the media center about how you guys had to perform, and you have to perform at a team like that. You seem to really thrive under pressure, which is like, so like you look at you and and you're such a calm dude and you don't really get rattled, but it's like the pressure, just like you thrive in it.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I definitely like high pressure situations. Yeah, I don't know why. Like even as a kid, like I was always more of a gamer than like I was terrible at practice, but when it came game time, I would
Ugh.
perform better. So I've always just kind of been that way, I feel like. But yeah, I think our team, that's what makes this so unique, especially going into this season, is there was so many unknowns, and we felt like all of our jobs were on the line. Myself, James, we just had a lot to prove, and a lot of people had doubted us. And for us to be able to have the season that we've had, and be a championship four contender now, it's pretty special. Just knowing the amount of work that we've put in behind the scenes, and truthfully, we feel like we're not even to our 100% capability yet. I think that's the exciting thing is we're still so new together, and we're still learning so much week in and week out. Once we get our processes really dialed in, then I feel like going to be really deadly. So it's been a lot of fun just seeing our progression through the year from where we were to start the season, even then 3 months into the season, 6 months, and now, 9, 10 months into the season, we're kind of a different team each season so far. So yeah, we've been really good here lately, and hopefully we can continue that.
I love James in the media center. He said, we're consistently, in my opinion, the best team in the series. We scored more points than anybody, more polls, had the most points in the playoffs here, and now we're going to Phoenix. To have a guy that has that much confidence in you, this team, this program, this organization, everything sitting on top of that pit box, and a guy that that has been there before, how much does that trickle down and is felt throughout that entire team?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely felt, I think that's been the fun thing for me this year, working with James and not even just James, but, Kyle, Jake, our entire engineering group is, I never have to question, are they working their guts out? Like there's no doubt that they are doing everything they can week in, week out to give me the best race car every single week. And as a race car driver, I'm giving them the best I have every single week. And, there's just this confidence between, the pairing of us where they know that I'm giving it everything I got. I know that they're giving it everything they got. And we just have this trust because of that reason. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to, get to work with them. Yeah, I could not ask for a better guy up on the pit box. James has always gotten a lot of just flack, truthfully. And it's not well deserved at all. That guy is the hardest working guy in the garage, and for me to be able to be the lucky driver that gets to work with him, yeah, I'm just super appreciative.
Yeah, I love it. He's a great guy, and also, I mentioned the 2020. For those of us who have followed your career from the very beginning, we've seen the ups and downs both on and off the track, and you've taken us along on that journey with you, which is why I definitely feel like there's so many people who feel like they're in this championship hunt
Yeah.
with you. It's gonna be a fun championship for sure. Final question. When I cover basketball, there's a list of three things that a lot of coaches will do on a whiteboard. We have to do this in order to win the game. So, what are those three things that you have to do well in order to win Phoenix and win the championship?
Yeah, I think for us, it's really just one thing, and that's execution. If we go execute, there's no doubt in my mind that we will be in contention to win the race. And I mean, that's honestly been the deciding factor to all these races for us is when we execute, we're normally right there battling for the win or in the top two or three. And when we don't execute, we're not. And, that's a total execution. It comes from my end, on pit road, restarts, all those things, our pit stops. I know that we're going to have good car speed. I know our car is going to be fast. I know it's going to drive well. But it comes down to those little details. And especially in the championship race, you cannot afford to have any slip up. You have to be
Yeah.
absolutely perfect all day long. And when we've been perfect, we're arguably the team to beat. So it all goes going to come down to execution for us. And I feel like if we go and execute, then yeah, there's no reason why we can't win.
All right, bud. Enjoy hanging that banner, whether you
Yeah,
do it
thank you.
today or
Appreciate it.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Enjoy
we're
that
doing it
lunch.
today.
All right. Enjoy it. Have fun.
Yeah,
Take some
yeah,
pictures, post it on social media so we can all enjoy that moment with
yeah,
you.
absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care. We are coming from Talladega to must win Martinsville. It is a must win for a lot of guys. And cool little fact here, you've got Blaney, Logano, Elliott, all guys that are in must win situations this weekend on the paperclip. All three of those guys have won in Martinsville, and all three have won in the fall, going on to win the title. So it is going to be a battle of the Titans out there in Virginia this weekend. Best day ever. We have to give this one to Todd Gilliland. I mean, second place finish at Talladega. What a race it was. What a final stage it was for him. He, of course, finished in the top 10 in that stage two finish, raced with the leaders throughout the entire final stage, led 16 laps. But the coolest little fact that I read this morning is that his dad, David Gilliland, actually finished second at Talladega in 2013 in a front row motorsports car. So for dad and son to get it done with the same team, same finish at the same racetrack, pretty cool stat there. We will see you all in Martinsville. We'll see you post Martinsville as we get you ready for the championship for just 2 weeks away.